Hey guys, so this is going to be a follow along react style video again with G-Man Speaks TV. Haven't done one of those in quite a little while. It's going to be pertaining to the topic of why you should pay as little, or if you should pay at all, for a first date. Without further ado, we're going to dive in, transition between myself and G-Man Speaks TV on screen, and we're going to start hitting this topic right away.
G'day guys, welcome to the Slurry Research Institute. I'm your head of Slurry Research Operations, G-Man, and today I'm going to present to you my findings on why you should spend as little as possible on first dates when hunting slurries, especially off dating apps. Let's jump in and enjoy, lads.
I went on 50-ish first dates last year,
50 dates.
And out of those dates, about 3 or 4 of them were coffee dates. They were far and away some of the worst dates I went on out of the 50. And objectively...
Okay, so I'm going to stop this one here and there, right? There's some key points here. Now, she went on 50 first dates last year. So what's that telling you straight off the bat? This is a black hole, guys. All she wants is for guys to take her out, and she wants to talk about guys investing in first dates. More than coffees. Coffees are rubbish. Now, this is for this very reason you should only be spending your $5 on a coffee, because she's dating a whole bunch of dudes. 50 first dates. Now, those guys who would have gone out, those 46 other morons who went and bought her lunch, brunch, dinner, did they see a return on investment? Probably not.
Yeah, I have to slot in with the fact that you really shouldn't be calling it dating if you're meeting someone for the first time. Now, my opinion for that is it's not a date, as in you're not progressing potentially into a relationship. Dating is a kind of word that I would have used when I would have been in my early 20s, and really you should probably look to phase it out by the time you're hitting your mid-20s. You're no longer dating. You're meeting people, or you're meeting someone and you are hoping to progress into a monogamous relationship. Like, for you to be dating is really sustaining in progressing a romantic relationship. So if you say when you meet someone for the first time that now we're dating, or this was a first date, well, again, is it a first meeting, or is it your actual first date, your first romantic, monogamous interaction with one another, and now you are exclusive as an interchangeable word, and you're romantically only seeing one another? That would be, say, a definition for dating in my mind. So on that note, gentlemen, look out for women that even pride themselves and uphold this virtue of, I'm a serial dater, I've been on X amount of dates, 30, 50, 80, in a week sometimes. That's, as far as red flags are concerned, probably one of the biggest ones that you might even see shoved and flaunted in your face, because it's touted on social media and something you ought to look out for, that this person isn't worth being involved in.
Objectively, the dates were fine. We had a nice conversation, maybe we sat outside and had some coffee, but I walked away feeling like I literally don't care if I see this person again or not, which is not really the goal of a first date. I want to have some sort of opinion when I leave. Either I want to see them again and ask them about this specific thing that we talked about, or I really don't want to see them again because of these 3 things were not compatible. But to have literally...
Okay, so the number one reason too, guys, why you don't go on dinner dates for the first time, I'm gonna give you 2 really good reasons. The first one, it's stupid. You don't know this person from a bar of soap, okay? They're a stranger off the internet. Why would you go and spend, I know, what would it be now for a nice dinner for 2 people? 150, 200 bucks first time, including yourself? What a waste of money for her to say a lot of the time she's gonna walk away not wanting to talk to you again. She's gone on 50 first dates. Does she have a boyfriend? Probably not, okay? This is the standard operating procedure of just about every chick, especially out there in Australia. It's very, very common. They're going to push for dinner dates. A very, very stupid thing to do. So the first one's cost. The second one is, once again, she said she's going to find a reason. Okay, you're going to sit there at a dinner date. You don't know her. You're going to sit there. You're going to trip up. The more time you have to talk, the more reasons you're giving this girl not to proceed with you based off face value. Number one, politics or something like that. A lot of these chicks, they're left-leaning. And I always say this, guys, especially when you're in it for the short term, just go along with it. Now, you're giving yourself ample opportunity to say something she doesn't like. You've gone and spent 200 bucks. You're getting jack shit out of it. You can't make it up.
In the last month, I've probably said it over 5 or 7 times as well. What are you there for is the first question you should probably ask yourself. What is it that I want to achieve from this first date? What is it that I want? You have to have that conversation with yourself as a dude, and quite frankly, when you start engaging with these women, are you thinking with your head or are you thinking with your head? Yeah, for the sum of all parts, I agree with G-Man here, but the first point he made regarding dating in a formal sort of place like a restaurant, going to a dinner date, you have to go back to a few minutes ago when I said the definition, establishing that definition of what is it that you're actually doing. Are you dating, which is ongoingly, romantically, exclusively, monogamously, right? Using all those catchphrases or buzzwords. Is that what you're actually engaging in? You're pursuing this person to ongoingly see romantically, or are you actually meeting one another for the first time? Is it just a meeting? You haven't even seen this person and this will be the first time. So if you're meeting, I don't think a dinner date is particularly an appropriate sort of setting. Again, I'm not going to say it's a total write-off and it can't plausibly work because context comes into play. So if you've already, say, engaged in conversation with this person over, say, a dating app, Bumble, whatnot, and you've already gotten a gauge for this person, you've exchanged perhaps some voice messages, you've had, you could say, some more serious types of conversations where you've already crossed that threshold to see what will be applicable with this person and what won't be. So how G-Man mentioned, or you might say the wrong thing. Well, if you've already addressed some of those potentially wrong things, if you've already talked a little bit about politics and you've talked about values and what you see eye to eye with, and you've already established some of those things beforehand, then a dinner date might not be a total disaster. If you've already had the conversation of, all right, we'll go to this place, the bill, we're probably going to be looking at about a $150, maybe even $200 bill, but a lot of the time you can look at menus beforehand, and again, it depends on how mutual that conversation with this lady, this woman is, and if you've already deciphered and agreed beforehand that you're happy to split the bill, then a dinner date at a restaurant isn't a complete disaster. It doesn't have to be. So that's really it. If you haven't hit any topics of substance on this dating app where you've been having this conversation, then no, I don't recommend you go to a dinner date. I don't recommend any place that you go to where you go out of your way to open your wallet, because you should really be hitting these boxes, especially if what you want is a monogamous relationship, is pursuing this person to date them and potentially go on to a fruitful long-term relationship. Then those conversations where G-Man has just said you might say something that's out of term in this restaurant as a hypothetical, well, say those things in a voice message over Bumble. It won't cost you anything. And then see where you fall. See where the conversation lands. You get unmatched, you get ghosted. Don't be afraid to be yourself and who you are, and use these dating apps for what they're intended for. My bio is fucking right offensive to a lot of women. I've actually had a few match just to tell me how offended and hurt they were, and even try and interrogate me about my belief system and why it is that I believe a certain thing, and then afterwards they report me, and I received a notification that I was reported, even though I didn't abuse them or say anything that was far right out of my way to offend them. That because they didn't agree, they unmatched and reported me. But you know what, that didn't cost me anything. I'm not a life member, I'm not subscribed to any of these dating apps. So use those apps or this place that you're having this kind of conversation. If you're texting, even better, because you won't get banned for it. Say it what you got to say it how it is, say what you believe, what your intentions are. Like, be truthful. I'm definitely not advocating for hookup culture, but if that is your intent, if the only thing you ultimately want to achieve is getting into this girl's pants, or at least that's the primary driving factor, and then you'll go on to say decide whether you want to pursue her, don't go to this extent, this length of leading with your wallet and trying to set this situation up through the means of going on a formal date to a nice place and courting her, and essentially it becomes a facade, and you're only dishonoring and fooling yourself if that is really the mechanism of action to try and get the outcome of just getting into her pants.
Opinion on someone after spending an hour and a half with them at coffee, to me, just says that you didn't really get into anything significant in terms of conversation. And the reason I think that happens is because coffee dates feel like business meetings, especially coming from the industry that I am in, which is entertainment. Coffee meetings are super common. And so it's really hard to not think of a coffee date as literally just...
What do you want it to be? Oh, that's right. Let me guess. She doesn't even have to say for me to know. She wants to have fun. She wants it to be spontaneity based and just simply fun. Brainless, mindless, senseless kind of fun. For you, for her to just enjoy yourself. That's okay, sure, but that isn't what's going to drive this forward and lead to anything serious moving forward. Okay? Fine. I'll give you an example if you disagree with me. You have fun. She has fun. You have an outstanding time. Hell, the evening wraps up with you ending up in her bed or she ends up in yours. Fantastic evening, right? You're attracted to her. She seems to be attracted to you. You had fun. A day of it, a night of it. What happens when the serious conversations do come out? What happens when you do say something that she doesn't like, she doesn't agree with? She says they feel like business meetings. Well, maybe we should just cross that bridge now rather than later. What happens when feelings get involved? She catches them for you, you catch them for her. You haven't had a single serious conversation because all you've wanted to do is have fucking fun. What then? Now the passage becomes impassable because you've said something or she said something that you completely oppose. You find out that she's got a huge body count. She's not only a serial dater, but she seriously sleeps around. She's had over 10 boyfriends in the past. You don't see eye to eye with that. What then? You're supposed to start compromising and lowering your standards. That's just an example. Maybe it's things that you do that she doesn't like. Maybe she's embarrassed and ashamed of you or something you say. Maybe she finds out you've got a criminal record and that's a deal breaker for her. But that only comes out after all these happy days of fun. So maybe you should just have that business meeting right off the bat to not waste one another's time down the road.
A business meeting. And so any of the things that are important on a date, like asking personal questions or building rapport or finding out if there's a connection, it's even harder to do than it might already be because it doesn't even feel like the right setting for that. So if you like coffee dates, more power to you, but I was amazed that all the dates I went on, the ones where I really had no emotion afterwards at all, positive or negative.
You noticed that? Right there. Key word. Women love it. They thrive on it. They live off it. It is their fuel. The only thing that keeps the motor running. Emotion. The emotion I felt afterwards. That's the problem. If you're a normal, reasonable, healthy, masculine man, you're going to think with reason and logic. You're going to use your reasonable mind, your wise mind. You know, one person commented on one of my videos saying that people like relatable content. Well, this is relatable. I'm encouraging guys to think, encouraging men to be who they're designed to be. Masculine, firm, strong in their will, honorable, proud of who they are and the decisions they make. So if your thought process as a healthy, reasonable man is to think logically, and women will go on to say things like she just said, that we think with our emotions, we lead with them. The first things going through her mind is, I didn't feel a spark. I didn't ignite my fire. She's not thinking about all the things that you say did agree on, where you might be compatible, of matters of substance, things that actually matter rather than fucking music taste and the kind of color and chocolate ice cream that you like. What her favorite place to get takeout is, all that shit is completely insignificant. So again, it comes back full circle to what is it that you want. If she's out there looking for someone to connect with by just hooking up herself, and you get a vibe for it, like you get a good reading for it, that she's really out there looking to get the same thing you are, say. Just sleep with one another, hook up. Well, then ascertain that as soon as possible. But this is where all these fucking games come into it. And for those of you who might be a little bit younger, maybe in their 20s watching me, you might think, oh, this is just a load of slop. It's a load of dribble. What is this guy even going on about? I just want to have fun. Like, what the fuck are you talking about pursuing relationships and something serious? Yeah, maybe this isn't the video for you. But again, if you're an older bloke, all right, you're in your later 20s, maybe even in your mid-20s, this can pertain to you. But if you're a guy in your 30s, you really only should be looking to meet women or date them, as this topic is implied, to pursue something long-term and fruitful. So fun shouldn't be the primary factor on your mind. All right? You should be gauging compatibility, which means having these kinds of conversations that might be perceived as hurtful, but they need to be had because that bridge does need to be crossed sooner rather than later, as I just said before. But women, especially women that don't know what they want, which is probably 99% of the ones that you will find on dating apps, are there just to have fun. All right? They want to be left with that kind of a feeling, as they'll describe it, that they were swooshed off their feet. Which probably indicates that, yeah, if she did have a fun time, if you paid for it and, you know, covered all the concessions that were required of you for her to have fun, she'll probably put out that night. She'll probably sleep with you. And then you'll continue to have a fun time and evening with one another. But that doesn't mean that there's going to be anything fruitful happening long term, let alone the next day. Because, again, she's going to wake up feeling a certain way again on the next day. She's going to be feeling another thing when another guy messages her, because she's potentially, as this girl is, a serial dater. She's always looking for the next feeling rather than stabilizing and settling down and only pursuing an interaction with one man and waiting for it to unravel, because that's what you need to do. You need to progress things. Things take time to unravel and develop in a relationship. But she wants it now. This instant fucking gratification of younger people even my age, fucking shits me to tears because they want everything to happen suddenly. They want that spark and connection to happen within that first 5 minutes. And then they gauge everything to come based off that. Yes, first impressions fucking matter, but anything of substance, anything in this life of value and purpose takes time to develop and unravel. It's not going to happen instantly.
Or coffee dates. And if you found your husband from a coffee date, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I do think if you're struggling to find connection on first dates, I would stay away from coffee dates and try something a little more fun or interesting.
Awesome, because you're not paying for it. Let's try some more fun and interesting. I'm going to say another comment. I say this all the time. I'm going to die on this hill. Women are the cheapest creatures on earth in general. A generalization. I know there's going to be women out there, oh, I pay for things. Yeah, I know. Okay, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about most of these chicks off dating apps, all these ones on TikTok talking absolute shizen, okay?
Girls just want to have fun. Why
do they want to push for dates at restaurants? Or why do they want to have adventures? Or why do they want to have experiences? Because they're not paying for it. Now, if they got to pay for it, you're a scumbag. You're a scumbag because you're not treating me. Some person you don't even know. You're not taking them out for a hot air balloon ride and spending $500 or taking them out for a helicopter to go and land on the Whitsunday Islands and have a picnic. You can't make this shit up, boys. Now, I'm going to say one thing here. I'm proud of you guys out there on TikTok because check these comments out. It's great. I'm going to read it. That's a lot of free meals and drinks for nothing. Good on you, buddy. I like coffee dates because it's low stakes. I'm not out $200 if she's full of red flags. Perfect. Most people would not have 50 dates in a lifetime. So what's that got to tell you? So these women are multi-daters. Most women are using guys up for drinks, adventure, and just entertainment, okay? 50 dates, no boyfriend out of it. What's that got to tell you? Sorry. All right, let's just see this rationale.
When a guy's suggesting to take you out on a coffee date instead of a dinner date or an activity date for your first date, it probably means one of these three things. Number one, he is choosing a low effort, low value date because he is probably dating multiple women. And
check out the ego. the self-perceived notion to think that she is worthy of your money, your effort, your time. Where is this rationale being formed from? Well, probably other chicks on social media. I'm sorry, what are you bringing to the table, love, for me to quite literally go and reserve and pay and book this table for us to have a dinner date?
You might be okay with that because you might be dating multiple men, but it's just something to think about because he...
Did she just say that's all good if you're dating multiple men? Fuck. Planet wisdom.
He's not putting in the effort and money into planning a notable, worthy first date because he's probably...
Can you believe this bullshit? What world do these women live on? Because social media has destroyed the female brain. They're all celebrities, okay, in their own mind, and they have a lot of fans, simps, in the comments. Are most guys dating multiple women? No. Yeah, the Bryces and Stevos are. They're bagging and tagging all the little sluzzers, breaking them in half in the back of the VN or back of the Ford Raptor behind the cricket pavilion, gentlemen. Most guys, though, are not doing this, and a lot of guys get burnt, and that's why they suggest low effort dates. It's a low cost. Doesn't mean it's low effort. You go out and you're making an effort to go and see somebody. I don't understand that, okay? Most women are multi-dating. Guys, you need to understand that, and that's why guys are waking up and pushing back on spending money on dates.
He's probably going on the same date with so many women just to figure out who is going to be a good match. And
Jobs on herself.
There's nothing wrong with that, but it's up to you if you're...
Guys generally figure out who's going to be a good match significantly faster than any woman. Because again, it comes back to what I've said time and time again about using logic and reason. It's not an emotion that's ever changing like the tides and currents. Men usually become pretty set in their ways. They'll rationally evaluate if this is worth pursuing, if this person is worth my time. Have they piqued my interest? Yes, box is checked. Are they attractive? Yes, box is checked. Would I like to see them again? Yes, box is checked. That's it. They're not going to wake up with a fucking different feeling the next day. They're not going to lose their mind necessarily because of something you say.
You're okay with that. Number two, he's probably kind of cheap. Even if it is about point number one.
Scumbag.
If a guy has...
I'm going to stop it there. I'm the biggest tight ass in the world when it comes to doing this. I don't give a shit, boys. I've been there and done that, spent money on women. What did I get out of it? Fuck all, okay? You don't get much out of doing that. Guys, I can tell you from experience, you do not need to spend any money on women if she likes you. She'll probably spend money or suggest to go half. She'll drive 2 hours to come and meet you. It's not a how much can I spend, how much of an extravagant thing can I lay out the red carpet for, because she goes and bangs the guys who don't do that. So you guys out there leading with money, hey, this is what you do. You get your fucking wallet, right? You get your wallet, all right? Get your card. Oh, there goes your credit card. Fucking throw that off, all right? There goes your fucking debit card. Out it goes, a wallet. Put it in the bin. Fucking see you later.
G-Man,
right? You are setting the standard that you're going to be a cash cow.
money and he's not cheap, a dinner to him is like a cup of coffee to an average Joe. Even if he's dating multiple women, he'll still want to take you out for...
Got it. So that's a way that she's saying you can gauge a man's financial status, because he's of such means that he can pay for a dinner date and it's like a $5 coffee to him. He doesn't mind forking out $250 because he can afford it. That's nothing. That's an insignificant amount to him. Okay, yeah. So we'll use that as pretext to gauge this man's self-sufficiency and his net worth. I see what she's done there.
A nice
No, he
dinner.
won't.
Number three is just
No,
a
he
meet and
won't.
greet before he plans a proper date. When a guy's suggesting to take you out on a coffee date instead of a...
Okay, so men want to spend money on women. No, we don't. Newsflash, ladies. We do it because we have to. And guys, away.
Sorry to cut G-Man off, but it's because it's intrinsically what they're programmed to do. It's parasitic-like behavior, but women are drawn to men where they can feed off their resources, which is why she's saying what she's saying. That's why she wants to be taken on a dinner date. Because, as she just said, a man that takes me on a dinner date probably means that he's not a cheapskate. He's got the money. He can afford it quite comfortably. And, as she put it, the average Joe, he's going to be counting and penny pinching, breaking open the piggy bank, metaphorically speaking, and trying to put all the money together and seeing if this is going to be worth it and how he's going to be potentially able to afford this without going into some sort of weekly allowance budgeted debt. So I see what she's saying, and that's typical female modern day behavior. I'd even say it was probably pretty typical female behavior of the past. She's seeing what's in it for me when it comes to being able to obtain security through the means of financial resources that the man may possess.
You know, they don't have to do it if a girl really likes them. What is this? Buddy psyop. It's hilarious. Girls are the tightest creatures on earth. They are. Try and get a girl to try and pay for something if it's off a dating app. Nah, blocked and deleted. You're gone, boys, because they want to extract value and entertainment out of you. It's Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Why am I ranting about it? Because this shit happens to so many guys every day. Think about it, guys. Have you gone on a date? You've taken a woman out for dinner. You've gotten home from the drive home. You know, you've had your durry. You're driving around with your Winnie Blue. You're driving home, really looking forward to seeing her again. You've had a great time. You go to send her a text message. It bounces. It doesn't go to red, doesn't get delivered. Oh, the next day you might try and give her a call straight through the voicemail. You've been blocked, buddy. You check the dating apps. You've been deleted. Awesome. Used up for $200. Very common. All right, now let's see what this old boiler here has to say. Is she also going to prove my point? Probably.
If you got on this far, I'll even really simplify it for you because it's probably going to be the key point to this entire video. If she's interested in you, you won't have to pay a cent for anything. She'll even bring you food. You could use her as a menu, and probably shouldn't be using the word use, because I am hoping that you actually have a genuine interest in this person, in this woman, if she is going out of her way. But that's the point. She will go out of her way. She'll listen to you. She'll fulfill some kind of a request, say it's within reason. Hey, can you come over? Can you meet me here? But can you stop by such and such? Bring me such and such. If she's interested in you, in this first meeting that she's going to have with you, there's not going to be any kind of expectation. And G-Man's right. That's where you'll be able to really gauge how interested she is in you as a man, when even in the first meeting, she's going to be completely open to anything that you suggest. And it won't matter then if it's a walk, if it's a movie, if it's the coffee shop, if you ask her to bring the snacks if it is a movie, even if it's a Netflix and chill type of movie, and you actually do watch Netflix and chill, as opposed to what it really means, but you actually just have a good time together. Actually, a girlfriend I've had, the first 2 dates, meetings we had, she actually came over and we didn't do anything. We talked, we covered those bases, as I previously said, the important topics, seeing where it is that we match, where we align, what we actually have of substance that's in common, what kind of values we share, and we ended up having a pretty decent relationship. Things went wrong and sour down the line, but only multiple years later. So needless to say, that's pretty important to take note of. If anything from this video that's going to stick out in your mind is this right now. If she's genuinely interested in you, in what you've already built up over the course of some messages that you've sent to one another, if she's interested and keen, she'll go along with anything. And you don't need to spend a single cent. You don't need to make some kind of a dynamic grand entrance and court her through the means of leading with your wallet.
Let's see what this old boiler here has to say. Is she also going to prove my point? Probably. But they don't change. Even as they get older, guys, they want more and more and more. So maybe you middle-aged and older guys out there who are out in the dating scene, tell me what your experiences are like. But I can't comprehend. I cannot comprehend the entitlement of these birds. Do they believe what they're saying, or are they saying it for clicks on TikTok? It's hilarious. You cannot prove it. They shoot themselves in the foot. They should be happy if a bloke wants to take them out or a guy wants to take them out for a coffee. You're joking.
What are your thoughts on coffee dates versus dinner dates as a first meeting? No.
Yeah,
I think
Schmiegel.
anytime if a guy just wants to ask you for coffee, I'll tell you why he does. It's either because he goes on a lot of first dates and he's super picky and he doesn't want to spend the money because he knows he's picky and he almost never likes anybody, or he usually rarely gets second dates.
Exactly that point. He rarely gets second dates. Most guys are not picky. I always talk about this. Guys will go on a dates with retards, Down syndrome chicks, midgets, fat chicks, fucking stinky girls. All right? 1 out of 10. Dementors, Quasimodo. You're going to do it because they're...
Fuck. Where's G-Man in the Instagram Reels video I just did? Oh. You know it's funny when it starts making me choke up.
horny. They're going to go and do it. It isn't that... It's most of the time he doesn't get a second date. That's why he doesn't want to do it. He's been burnt 100 times. He's had enough of it.
And or he's cheap. So it's
Cheap.
either 1, 2, 3. Either he's so picky, he goes on a lot of first dates, or there's something wrong with him and he goes on a lot of first dates, or he's cheap. So it's definitely one of those three, and sometimes it's a
Fuck. Where do they get... Well, it's a rhetorical question. They get it from one another. Rather than and ahhing, I like to pause when I'm thinking of a way to formulate my sentence, but this is toxic. This is outright poisonous behavior, and it's toxic, and it's spreading in a way from woman to woman, ideation to ideation, and is being placed into the heads of younger women who... I'm assuming is what you guys are after. You guys watching this video, that's what you're chasing. You're not chasing this honey badger who clearly looks like she's in her 50s. And as G-Man put it, she should be glad that someone wants to take her on a coffee date, and it doesn't make you cheap. Don't let anyone tell you and put that in your head that you're cheap because you want to go on a coffee date. Even if it is a woman that you think is of value and you want to pursue her, let's just say that you've had the most splendid time interacting with one another on one of these dating apps. You've already even crossed some of those bridges and had the kind of conversation where you've been able to ascertain what her core values are and seeing where it is that you align. You think this couldn't be any better. We agree on X, Y, and Z. All the things that are important to me seem to be prevalent to her. Still nothing wrong with the first meeting being a coffee date because, as I just said, everything I say connects to the previous thing that I've said, especially in this video. If she's interested, it won't be a problem. She won't shut it down. She won't think, oh, man, this guy's so great and we've already had this magnificent time and agreed on so many things. We see eye to eye on practically everything, and then she's not going to go, oh, but he suggested a fucking coffee date, so... wrong. I'm not interested in him any longer. He's cheap or picky or something's wrong with him, as this chick is saying. Won't cross her mind. No, she'll be keen. She'll be counting down the days, quite literally. She'll be genuinely interested and she won't mind that you're meeting up for a coffee date. This bird here, don't take anything that she's saying to mind. Really entertainment and shock value, and it's toxic to other women who actually take this kind of feedback on board and use it as their own. It doesn't make you cheap. As G-Man's also even put it, men just don't want to be burnt either. Why is it that you believe that you're of this certain value that a man has to open his wallet and court you on a dinner date when he hasn't even ascertained any of your history? He hasn't even been able to get a concept and a good read of who you are as a person, who you are as a woman. Just because you've shown up, just because you look nice and you've exchanged a few messages, maybe even voice notes over a certain app or even text messages, that doesn't quite mean anything just yet. Other things will come into it. We'll see if there's context to bring other things up. I don't want to start going on too long because this will really drag the video out. But coffee dates are not cheap. They're a perfectly suitable method of meeting in a public place to be able to have a normal interaction with one another. To then be able to see if you are going to take the next step and actually engage in a relationship.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you want somebody who is excited to actually go on a date, take you out, spend the time, and
You are already spending the time. You are. already excited because you're going on this coffee date. Why does there have to be a set amount for me to be excited and keen? Why does there have to be a set monetary amount for me to want to, or for you to want to see me as a man? Use this as a hypothetical example. Okay, so because I've suggested something where you feel like you're going to have fun, where you're going to be courted, where I'm going to be doing the primary spending, all of a sudden to you as a woman, it's showing you that I'm interested, I'm not cheap, you're going to be able to have fun, and we're going to have a successful and happy evening. And where then I say, well, let's meet at the coffee shop that's only a couple of 100 meters down the road, that's already giving you off a bunch of red flags, and all of a sudden you don't think I'm excited, and all of a sudden that's somehow no longer me using or allocating my time for this, that I'm not really interested. Why would I be doing it in the first place? It comes back to men are generally rather reasonable and logical. They're not going to do it. They're just not going to do it. They're not. I got a coffee shop about 200 meters. I can get there in about 5 breaths of air. And I've actually suggested to women in the past to meet me there. But that doesn't mean because I suggested that I'm cheap or I'm lazy. No, it's simply convenient for me. But that doesn't mean that I'm not interested in meeting this person, because I simply wouldn't meet them. There's no logical reasoning for that to make any sort of sense, that I'm going now out of my way and I'm doing this as if I'm forced to do it. No, I'm setting that location, that particular location, because it's really close and convenient for me. It fits in well with my schedule, and clearly it seems like it works for the girl too, because she agrees. And worst case scenario, if I do get ghosted, she doesn't rock up, she's running late, I didn't significantly put myself out of my way. But that doesn't mean that I'm not interested, because if I'm not interested, I'm not even going to be there. I'm not even going to show up. I'm not even going to suggest it.
And get to know you. And I hate it even when I'm setting a woman up with one of my clients. She goes, well, I'll meet him for coffee. I'm like, yeah, and that date's not happening. That's not what I do. Like, I live in a sophisticated world where we do dinner, okay? And if you can't be a grown-up and sit through dinner, then I think you need to sort out your problems and then circle.
These women, they're all grifters, right? So she's a dating coach, single dating coach, middle-aged boiler sitting on her couch. She's hot, she's sophisticated. I'm sophisticated. I want you to spend money on me because that makes me sophisticated. If you spend your money on me, I don't have my own money. Can't make this shit up. All right, guys, about halfway through today. If you're enjoying the content, please sub to the channel, be part of the channel growth. That'll be much appreciated. If you want to support me further, check out my Patreon, link in the video description. No stress with that. And the best way to help me, guys, share these videos with your friends, like, comment, and engage. Get me out there and watch as long as you can, because YouTube will push me out based on those metrics. All right, let's keep going.
I might only do 2 more. We'll see how we go for time. I might only do 2 more, otherwise the video will go for a bit long. As in 2 more women on screen, this one included. But G-Man again makes a good point. Dating coach who's single. I'm high and mighty, I'm sophisticated. You're an adult if you take me on a dinner date. And if you are watching this, if you're a dating coach, that's not off the cards. It's not to say that that's never going to happen. I've been on plenty of dinner dates with a woman that I was actually in a relationship in. It again comes back to that point, doesn't it? I'm in a relationship with you. We're exclusive, we're monogamous. There's feelings, but we've already covered the bases. We've already had that first meeting. And that first meeting could have been watching a movie together, Netflix and chill style, that didn't necessarily need to lead to a sexual encounter. But we had a conversation. You can even have a sophisticated conversation, and it can be over coffee. Nah, but they want this high and mighty, elegant, eloquent setting. Like it fucking pertains to anything, like it matters.
I will never understand why people bash coffee dates as first dates as bad dates.
Let me explain why I think a coffee date is not a great option for a first date, and it's not really a lot to do about the money. When a man asks...
Oh man, if I'm gonna wreck her in the argument I'm gonna make, then this will even be the last one.
You out to have coffee, usually that means that he's not very serious, he doesn't know what he wants, or he doesn't really think you're it. But He's happy to meet up and let's see what happens, go with the flow type of a vibe.
Yeah.
Now, if that's your vibe, then cool, go have coffee. But I think what happens is a lot of women are actually looking for something serious. And
I love these middle-aged chicks off dating apps, and I have no shade of them. It's just that the standards are through the roof. Isn't that the biggest number one red flag to me on dating apps? I'm looking for something serious. I'm looking for a relationship. Fun's off, guys. There's no organic growth here. There's no enjoying each other's company and seeing what happens. I want this. I have one-track mind, and I'm going to demand shit. Can you make it up? You cannot make it up. It happens. And they stay single. Like, what world are you living in, ladies?
And when they go on a coffee date with a guy and things kind of go okay, the guy sort of decides to stick around and they start having a relationship.
Okay.
They tend to end up disappointed. Either this guy, he's not really the guy who makes an effort, buys flowers for no reason, remembers your birthday.
Alright. I can already see the direction she's swinging this in. It's the perception of the amount of effort he makes. So why she wants a glamorous first date is for her to be able to gauge the man's ability to make an effort.
And takes you out on nice elaborate dates.
Why would you do that? Guys, once again, fucking get your wallet. I've already thrown it. I don't have a second one. I can't throw it. If you want to date chicks like this, get a lighter, all right, and get your bank card, fucking melt it, because you're going to have no money. I'll give her all your money now if you're going to marry a woman that wants this sort of shit. She's going to take it all on the back end from you. If a guy doesn't want to buy you flowers for no reason, what guy buys chicks flowers for no reason? Come on. What world are we living in here, ladies? Spitting bullshit on TikTok. It is hilarious. Oh, he doesn't plan elaborate dates. I don't plan fucking elaborate dates or elaborate things for myself. I want to sit there thinking, oh, what elaborate things can I spend all my money on with women, and then have to put all this effort in to maybe see if I can get some action, which you won't get. Because if you're doing those things, she's not going to fucking put out for you because you're a bloody simp.
Or he ends up being the guy that you live with for 5 years and he never ends up proposing. The pipeline is real. And the reason is that he started out wishy-washy in the first place. He wasn't thinking, I know exactly what I want, and then when he saw you, he thought, you are my dream girl and I need to pursue you because you are the one that I want to marry. He's very...
It's not Walt Disney. We're not at Disneyland here, okay?
very unlikely to be the guy that after 6 months will start shopping for engagement rings and planning an elaborate proposal.
What?
He was never bringing that energy from the beginning. And I always say...
If you guys going down to Hoskins, the jewelers, you're going down to Prouds after 6 months, boom, boom, all right? That's what you're getting. You're getting my fucking combo here, Mike Tyson. Roll it, bang. That's what you're getting. All right? If you go and do that after 6 months, you're in for a world of fucking pain. I can tell you that the chances of you getting divorced or having the worst time of your life are going to be very, very high. So don't go putting up with women putting demands on you and going and buying fucking engagement rings after 6 months. Come on, buddy.
Don't do that.
Start as you intend to continue. So why would you think that this guy who's just asking you out to have coffee is going to bring that sort of energy later in the relationship? And see, this is the problem. It's about a mismatch or misaligned expectations when it comes to romance and making an effort in a relationship. So if you're the kind of...
Exactly. Okay, what effort do women make in a relationship apart from being there? These kinds of women. I know there are great women out there. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about these types who are demanding shit. So guy makes all effort. Woman receives romance. What's she doing for the man? Jack fucking shit. Zero. Okay? Don't be this dickhead.
Kind of girl who just likes to play it cool and not really have any true sense of romance from a man, then go ahead, have a coffee with him. But if you're looking for a man who's going to make an effort, do all those romantic gestures that most women like, then the coffee date really isn't for you. So ladies, don't go on a coffee date expecting to turn this guy into the Prince Charming romantic man of your dreams by showing...
Prince Charming romantic man of your dreams? Guess what, ladies? Newsflash, okay? Come close. He doesn't fucking exist. You fucking idiot. I can't watch any more of this one.
Yeah, I'm done, but I'll make my full screen point in relation to that clip just then. If you want to watch the rest of G-Man's video. If you haven't already seen it, the link will be in the description. I even had to make some points there, jot them down, just to recall everything it is that she was saying. And the first thing was, he's not serious. According to her, the man's not serious, and he's not making a perceived effort if he's taking you on a coffee date. Well, full circle again, yada yada, without me rehashing, because you've already watched this long. You are potentially quite serious, but this is a first meeting, okay? So sticking to the topic at hand, if this is the first meeting, perhaps even if it's the second and you haven't fully ascertained and had the serious conversations, even going back to the very first clip of it feels like a business meeting, yeah, because maybe we need to ascertain and cross those bridges to see if we can have a serious relationship down the road, and we're doing it in the most budget-friendly, effortless way, because we are using this as an opportunity to see if there's potential for growth. G-Man's right when he says that most of them, and I'd even say the majority of them, are living in a Walt Disney wishy-washy fucking fantasy where they think that they're the princess going down the yellow brick road, they're Snow White, never been kissed for the very first time, and they're entitled to this kind of treatment where you're going to give them the royal package, the deluxe, you're going to open your wallet and you're going to treat them, wine and dine them, court them, open doors for them, and that's the way that you're going to show your effort, and they're going to be able to get this read for you that you're serious, and you're going to potentially put a ring on their finger within the first 6 months. That ain't even a fucking Walt Disney story. Utter dribble and grandiose delusion to say that a man isn't serious about you, or that he's interested in pursuing a fruitful relationship that'll eventuate to having a family and marriage because the very first meeting that you had with him was over a cup of coffee. Like I mentioned before, one of the very first meetings, interchangeable with the word dates, with a woman that I fell in love with and went on to have a multiple year relationship with, was actually at my place. In a share house, in my room, and we did just talk and watch a movie, and nothing eventuated further onwards. She even came back the next night, and again, we spent that evening talking and watching YouTube videos and a movie. It really is an infection. It's toxic. It's highly toxic and contagious. Women spread this, well, misinformation, let's just call it, to one another, and then they take it on board, and then they really try and replicate it and find a way to be able to justify it in their own lives, when it's the furthest thing from being a realization, picture perfect depiction of reality. Okay, it's not grounded in any kind of even personal experience, because they went on a coffee date, they've instantly written this man off, they've dismissed this interaction, perhaps they don't even address it, they don't even give it a chance, they don't even take the opportunity that a man is actually there and he's willing to meet you. They're not taking into account his time and the effort that he is making, because he is still making an effort to see you, to go out and have this coffee date with you, and he's potentially going to even pay for the coffee, your coffee. But that's all beside the point. They're not even factoring that in. He's already dismissed because, oh, he's not interested in taking things further. I can see that he's making minimal effort, when he hasn't even ascertained that you're a person worth his time ongoingly, that you're a person, that you're a woman of value. What is it that you bring to the table is a question that a lot of women don't ask themselves. This is something that I've even commented on one of G-Man's videos in the past. How many women really sit down and have the conversation with themselves as to, what is it that I have to offer? How much baggage do I bring when I sit down at this table? When I enter this man's life, what am I bringing that's going to enrich his life? What is it that's going to be fruitful that I can give and put into this relationship that's going to make this enduring and everlasting? All right, they want the Disney fairy tale, so I might as well start using words like that myself, fruitful and everlasting, because right, that's the end goal, the happily ever after, but it has to be a two-way street, and it comes again full circle to videos I've made in the past, that for it to be that kind of a relationship, the everlasting type, it's got to be a two-way street, and then for that to happen, the woman's also got to ascertain and think these thoughts, assess her actions as to what it is that she can give you as the man when entering this relationship for it to work out like that in the long run. So that's really it. Those are my final points. Don't wine and dine her. Don't court her. Don't take her to a lavish restaurant. Don't give her the deluxe experience that involves you opening your wallet and leading with money first. Start using your head, the big head, the primary factor that's going to allow you to make the right decision if this woman is even worth your time in pursuing. You own a dog, she owns a dog, that's great. There's nothing wrong with meeting at a dog park at a mutual location, perhaps meeting at a dog-friendly beach, going for a walk along it, stopping by an ice cream truck or even a cafe, because the most important thing of the first meeting is to be able to gauge her, to be able to attain information that's going to potentially lead to you pursuing her and going on a second date, seeing if this woman is worthy of your time, worthy of a serious relationship and an ongoing commitment from you. Because women are also failing to stop and think for a split second that it's also pertaining to them, that it is a two-way street, and they've got to ask themselves the question of what it is that they bring to the table when they're seeking to enter this man's life and, well, lock him down and get the ring placed on their finger, and all within a matter of months. What is it that they're going to bring to this man's life? What kind of baggage are they potentially bringing to the table? And if they are bringing something to the table, what is it specifically? What is it that they have to offer to be able to not only enrich this man's life, but to give to the man, to give to the relationship, to be able to sustain it moving forward? And if the only thing that she's after in her head is your commitment to her, but she's not gauging her commitment and what kind of value she can give to you, then right there and then it should tell you that she's all about that fun, she's all about that bullshit, and there might not even be anything there worth pursuing moving forward. So, for the most part, it's probably good that you only spent $5.90 on a medium fucking size mocha latte. Done, gentlemen. Take it easy. Have a good week ahead.